Oh, hi. You going up? And by going up, I mean, are you ready to set expectations? I've got a question for you. How many of you would like to make more in the future than you do today? Raise your hand. Me too. And as you know, I like to set expectations in life, career, finance, and business. Today's episode, we're going to light up career. And I don't care if you're at the top of the org chart or anywhere in between. I think you're going to find this one especially useful. This versus that, episode number 2, could you versus if you. I find most people are exceedingly overwhelmed in a day, and it comes in large part from what I like to call the could yous. It might show up as, could you do me this favor? Could you get this done by 5? Or maybe you could take over this meeting and attend it for me today. Or could you pick this up on the way home? Or could you get this done? Or drop what you're doing? Could you fill out this paperwork? And whatever it is, it all comes in the form of could yous. And with everybody as overwhelmed as they are, they're not looking for another could you. I remember someone came into my office on my team and said, could you get me a second monitor? And I remember thinking, well, I don't know, I'm sure I could, but now you're making me figure out why it is you need this monitor. And so, no, let me ask you a few questions first. What do you need it for? Oh, well, I need 2 monitors so that I could spread out my stuff on both monitors so I could see more of what I'm doing. Got it. Okay, what would that do for you? Well, I make all those calls to some of our opportunities all day long, and so I could keep the list of people that are on this side, on this monitor, and then what it is I'm looking to say and cover for them for where they're at and the records that I'm keeping for them all over here. Could that make you more productive? Yeah, I think it would make me more productive. I go, okay, great. Now that sounds really useful. Did you do any research on what this thing's going to cost or any of that? And he said, no. I said, okay, let's try this again. Let's, instead of doing the could you version of this, let me try it a different way for you. What if instead you were to say, if you? And he looked at me like you're probably thinking right now, if you, what does that mean? If you. Let me give you an example. If you had come to me and said, if you could buy me a second monitor, it would allow me to spread my work out over the first monitor where I could see everybody I need to call. And on the second monitor, I could have everything I need to talk to them about and all the records that I keep on them, which would make me 50% more productive in a day. And I'd imagine you'd want me to be 50% more productive in a day. I did some research. It only costs a couple $100 for me to get that second monitor. If you got that monitor for me, I think I can increase my productivity by 50%, reaching 50% more people when I make my calls throughout the day. What do you say? And you could imagine that he, when he heard me describe it, said, yes, I like the sound of that. And by the way, so did I. I like the sound of that. Because when you're higher up in the organization, you're responsible for making things work. You want to hear ways that your people could be more productive. You want that offer of help that makes it easier than just, could you? Because could you forces me to figure out what it is that could be done with it, as opposed to if you means you may have actually done the work to help someone figure it out together. Let me give you another example. We have a checklist for anybody who's going to be a guest speaker on one of our webinars in our organization. And on that checklist, we send to a speaker 5 questions that we want them to answer ahead of time. We sent this to one speaker a few years back, and the team came back to me and said, that didn't go so well. And I said, what happened? They said, well, all of a sudden he started getting upset at us. And he said, do you know how many times I present in a year? How many people I speak in front of, like this handsome stock photo person? I'm really good at this. You can just trust that I'll do a really great job. I don't need to answer these questions for you. And that's because, I explained to my team, you structured this as a could you. Now, what if on the other hand, you structured it as an if you? And they looked at me kind of funny and I said, well, think about it this way. What are we asking for the 5 questions to be filled out for? Is it just busy work? Well, no, it allows us to put in our bulletin and to promote the event. And I said, right, so that what? So that more people attend, they said back. I said, exactly. Now all of a sudden, you have the makings for an if you. If you fill out these 5 simple questions, you'll arm us with your words for how to best promote you. And I'm pretty sure you're doing this so that you can get as many of the folks at our firm to attend as possible. And I'd hate to have it be that only a handful of folks were to attend. Now, if you do fill out these 5 questions, we'll commit on our side to promoting the heck out of you throughout our organization. And maybe instead of a handful of folks, you might get to dozens or 100+ folks to attend. I'm guessing that'd be as good for you as it would be for us. Would you be open to doing those 5 questions so that we could do that promotion for you? And now all of a sudden, the if you started to show up. and he was more than happy to fill out the questions. So what exactly is so different between an if you and a could you? What happens is when somebody is levying a could you, what they're effectively doing is creating a one-way street on value. The person who's saying, could you do this for me, clearly knows what's valuable in it for them. But it forces the person receiving it to go, is this useful for me? How about for the team? Is it good for the organization? Rather than do that in a could you that forces that on the person receiving it, a simple restructuring of it to an if you. If almost always requires a then. If you fill out these 5 questions, then we will commit to promoting the heck out of this for you. And so that creates a feeling of a two-way street rather than a one-way street for value. So instead of a could you, where all of a sudden the value feels like it's tipping on the scales way too much to the person making the could you request, instead what it's doing is it's saying, hey, I've already figured out the if you do this, then we'll do that. And the value feels a lot more even. I think you'll find that a lot more people will be receptive to this. And really the two-way street doesn't look like this because you're not traveling in different directions in an if you. In an if you, what you've done is you've created alignment. Now all of a sudden your two-way street is really 2 folks coming together, 2 teams coming together in an if you, heading to the same place together because it's better for both of you than not doing it. So remember I said there's lots of ways you can use the if you. You could, for example, do an if you do this, then I will free you up for more time. You know how precious time is for people who have so much to do in a day? Perhaps if you do this for me, I'll attend that meeting for you, freeing you up for that half hour, and now we're in a good spot together. People will love if you can help save them time. You could also aim your if yous at how to increase revenue or profit or productivity in the organization. Even if you're in a role that doesn't feel like it produces revenue or produces profit, you could be front reception in an office and you could affect the performance of the company by changing how you situate the room, how you greet people, that you give people water, that you have something in the lobby for them to do. Whatever that is, those are if you would invest a little bit more in changing the lobby space. I think that what we can do then is I can function to make everybody that much happier when they go into a meeting with our people. And now all of a sudden you can aim it at productivity as well. You could also aim it at satisfaction. Like, how do you produce customer satisfaction? You know, if you would be able to do this, then I think what I could do is I could satisfy people in the following ways. And those could be end clients, those could be people in the organization, those could be other teams. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. The other thing that you can do is, what if you say, I don't know if I have a then. So I can give the if you, but it'll sound like a could you. If you do this for me, I don't know what I can do for you. In which case, you have to learn. You have to learn what to do that's more valuable. But guess what? Here's the good news. You can use the if you for learning too. You can say, you know what? If you do me the favor of teaching me this skill that I can clearly tell you know how to do, then I will work to take over this project for you and help lead it, which I think will free you up tremendously. Would you be willing to make that investment if I could return it by doing this for you too? And now all of a sudden, even when it feels like you don't have much to offer, all of a sudden you're creating a relationship of an if-then, an if-you that's valuable for both to align people together. It doesn't matter where you are in the organization chart. I think you're going to find the if-yous valuable. Let's say you're in the leadership side at the top of the organization. Having your people working with an if-you mindset is going to change. It might even be a relief if you're getting so many could-yous in a day that you feel overwhelmed. Now all of a sudden you've created teams of folks that are designing value in a two-way street that aligns people together. If you're anywhere in the organization chart and you're looking to get unstuck or get ahead in your career, start to take responsibility not just for what's good for you, like a could you, but what's good for you and also good for someone else that brings you together. I think you're going to find that a lot more people are receptive to that. In fact, a lot more people might take notice of the fact that you're designing value for lots of folks when you make your if-you statements. So try them out if you're experiencing any of the challenges of the could-you inundation that most people are. And I think what you're going to find is that the if-yous are going to beat the could-yous most every time. And don't worry, if you can't figure out what the if-you is, it's probably there. You just got to practice at it. Try it on a few times this week. Let me know what happens. If you've enjoyed this episode, let me know in the comments or feel free to hit subscribe to get more series like this. I look forward to the next time. Until then, set an expectations. Hello? Is anyone out there? I think the elevator's stuck. Could someone call maintenance? Oh, I mean, if you call maintenance, then I will help you to